Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Jonathan Friedman. Joining me in the studio today is Connie Dunn, owner and publisher of Connie's books entitled Publish with Connie. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio today, Connie.
Thank you.
And I should start by saying Connie has come into the studio with a whole treasure chest of not only books but quilts, and this looks to me like a woman who does not spend very much time sleeping, because it is amazing what you've brought in here. Tell us a little bit about your background, Connie, and how you came to become a publisher.
Well, I spent about 30 years as a freelance writer. So I'm writing for magazines and newspapers and that sort of thing. In fact, I had a regular column in the Dallas Morning News that was on technology, basically for home business and small businesses. And I actually won an award from the Small Business Administration for my work with the home business.
Excellent. So you've really been focused in the business sector and in writing for a long time.
I have. So I've been writing for really basically all my life, and I also have been sewing for almost all my life. So they all just kind of come together.
So fascinating. And we'll jump fast forward ahead to your latest project, which is a book that you provided us, a beautiful book here, that is illustrated by your quilts.
That's correct.
So tell us a little bit about that process and how that came about.
Well, I actually tried to get some other illustrators to illustrate it, and not because of the subject matter or anything else, it just was circumstances. I'd only get like one, and then they just kind of disappeared. And finally I just said, well, evidently I'm supposed to illustrate this thing myself. So that's what I did. And I don't draw, but you give me a piece of fabric and I can cut it out.
You shared with me earlier before we came on the air another a term that I hadn't heard, authorpreneurs. I can't even pronounce it. Authorpreneur. And you work with various authors that are interested in becoming published?
Yes, I do. I take people from their concept all the way through the publishing process. And I am a specialist in independent publishing, which is can be more like self-publishing, but can actually be simulate what you would do if you went through a traditional publisher. But getting published by a traditional publisher in these days is really difficult because they publish fewer and fewer. So it's just easier to do it all yourself sometimes.
Well, and what's fascinating, as we're sitting here in front of you, you have a wealth of books that you've written and published. And it seems to me that you've written on various broad topics. So tell us about, has it been based on your interest, based on where you were at a particular point in your life and things? So tell us about the myriad of books that you've written about.
Well, I have a lot of them that are written for children because I have written a lot of children. I was a religious educator for about 25, 30 years as well. Some of it overlapped with my writing career. It wasn't really paid. It was more like volunteer, but I did the same job. And so I have a backlog of a lot of children's stories because I wrote, I would say almost a story a week to go with the minister's sermons. So I have a lot of stories, and I started publishing them. And so I have a lot of those. And then I have a lot of books that I've written because my feeling is that there is a lot of, everybody wants to write a book. And so that's what I started doing as I started publishing books then that would help people who...
And it seems to me that a lot of the books are geared around helping people with the aspect of publishing. So you're really trying to show people that it is possible to publish your own book. Tell us a little bit about the process.
Process is just what you would think. You have to write. That's one process. And the next one is getting it edited, and then getting it formatted or the book designed, however you want to call that. So, that's actually putting the book together. And then publishing is fairly easy these days because it's all done electronically. You just basically have a PDF file, but of course it needs to be formatted and everything just exactly right for the right trim size. As you notice, I have several books here, and they're all different sizes. So there's all different kinds of sizes that you can make your book. And so then you just upload it, and really, once you are at that point, it's a matter of hours, and you get it out, and it's published.